Hello.
Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Well,
Good
Ryan, you're the only
answer.
person I can actually hear say an answer to that.
Oh, come on. You can wait for them to answer, right? Just sit here in silence. Hey guys, how you doing tonight? Stream delay now 20, 19, 18. All right, now we got our answers.
All right, perfect.
All right.
Well, welcome everybody to Don't Worry Wednesday. You guys look awesome. It's awesome to see you guys all here. Yeah, so this is a show where we handle any issues, any challenges you might be facing in your lives. Feel free to post them in the chat there. You can also post them on our website right here. Or you can email us at dww@bss.studio. It's dww@bss.studio. You can also look for CDVNL or Static P on Discord if you'd like to send us a private message. And for the email or private message, you can send them anonymous. Just let us know you'd like to remain anonymous, and we'd be happy to handle whatever challenge you might be going through. So,
There you go.
wow.
Princess has
Like
got
I
us
said,
covered.
it's great to see you guys. We're not professional therapists or policemen or lawyers or doctors or anything like that. We just want to pull up alongside you as friends and help in any way we can, maybe offer some advice, some perspective for you as you journey through your challenge. And most of the time, I think a lot of you are smart enough to figure out whatever you're going through, but sometimes we can be blinded by what's going on, and it helps to just have an outside perspective once in a while. And especially it helps to have people around you that encourage you from time to time. And for that, I would encourage you to go to bss.studio, get involved in the community there, and just be here in the show and be involved in the chat, because we have some just tremendous people, encouraging people in the chat that would be willing to help and offer some advice and some encouragement for you guys. So yeah, welcome again. And Princess Yellow is our chat room hostess. Being awesome as usual. Our producer is Jesse. Give Jesse a hand. He's awesome. And I am Joe, and above me is Ryan.
Hey there.
How you doing, Ryan?
Great. How you doing, Joe?
I'm fabulous. Like you wouldn't even believe it.
Fabulous.
What are you doing today?
Today I'm just kind of doing Don't Worry Wednesday with a guy named Joe Anderson. He's pretty cool. If you've ever met him, you might not have, you might have. He might be in your bathroom when you are in your bathroom with yourself. In the mirror, he might be there. I don't know. It's up to you whether you want to really find out or not. But yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. I would recommend him for anything. Like you drinking a cup of coffee in the morning, I would recommend him. If you're going to your neighbor's house to watch their dogs, I would recommend him. Like at any point in time you're trying to figure out what you want to do, I would recommend him. So Joe Anderson, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I would not recommend me for your bathroom.
Why not? You do great tile work, and you know how to clean sinks.
Stuff. Well, I could clean your bathroom, but yeah.
I would just have him in my bathroom all the time.
Well, that's just fantastic.
I wouldn't go to that bathroom though anymore.
I'm the bathroom coffee dog watcher.
If I ever wanted to talk to him, I could go to my bathroom, but I would do my business in a different place at that point in time, because that's weird.
Princess says bathroom is her favorite cleaning chore.
Oh, really?
That is very unique. You know what? That is amazing.
Yeah.
You can clean any of my bathrooms.
Your favorite thing is
wherever I go.
Dreaded things. So that's nice. That's kind of nice, because now you don't have to dread that.
Oh boy. Rain Knight has a groundbreaking question. What's the most disgusting item in the bathroom, shower or toilet? And I would say neither. Toothbrush.
Toothbrush. I
And you put
actually,
that thing in your mouth.
yeah, your mouth, that's okay. I actually had a friend whose mother would put their toothbrushes in the dishwasher every time after use. And that was weird because they would actually just interchange toothbrushes at that point. So like, hey, today I'm using the green toothbrush, and then they would put in the dishwasher after getting done using it. And then the next day they'd be like, hey, I'm using the blue toothbrush yesterday, even though my brother just used that one yesterday. And it's like, okay, all right, you do you. That's what they did, and that was their practice. And you know what? It sounds like it's hygienic, and they never got like sick from each other probably from it. But so I guess it's fine. It's just a bit odd for me.
Yeah.
Other people do it, I'm sure.
You just gave Jono a complex by talking about me in the bathroom.
Oh, sorry. PTSD, huh?
Yeah, we have already derailed, and we are less than 10 minutes in. So this is awesome. So we got some topics. We should.
I'm gonna ask this whole stream. It's not my fault Joe asked me how I was.
Hey, you know what? I did. I totally did. I'm sorry. So we've got some topics in the background or in our backlog. And if any of you guys think of something and you want us to talk about it, feel free again to post it in the chat or post it on our website. And so we've got one from Angel. We haven't seen Angel in a while, but that's still there. Dead, Akil, Jack, Lay, Knox, Science, Keaton, and a new one from Rain.
Mm-hmm.
So far I have seen Keaton. And is Science here? I see Science.
I haven't seen science yet today.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Okay.
We'll see.
So, Cherry, you have one too? Did I miss that one? Oh, you do. Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Yep. You do have one. All right. Excellent. So we also have one from Cherry. And let's see. So I think probably see. Cherry, are you talking about the one called Lost?
Lost. Yeah, Cherry, April 10th, Lost.
Okay. Well, let's start with that one. And looks like that came in the same day as Lay's. So
hey, Lay.
We will do that one, and then we'll move on to Master Lay. So Cherry, let's see. I will post a link here in the chat room. Okay, Princess explains it was marked as resolved and then not resolved. No problem.
All good.
So there's the link to Cherry's topic, so you can read along, and I will read it for us now. So this is called Lost. I updated this before and said it was solved, but now it's back to not being solved. Okay. Cherry says, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Something creative, definitely. I know that part for a fact. My friend told me I should be a manga artist since I love drawing, and he said my drawings are really good and look like something that could be in a manga. My other friends compliment my storytelling and writing skills and say that I should be an author. They get surprised that I'm able to write an entire chapter of a story, 4 to 5 pages, in a single class, which is 90 minutes.
I'm surprised too. Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I, on the other hand, really want to be big in music, like Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco, or like Nathan Sharp from Nate Wants to Battle. But I also want my stories to be heard, and I've always dreamed of making my own anime or manga. But I only want to devote myself to one. So what should I do? Music, drawing or manga, storytelling and writing? The choices are between music and making manga/stories, but I really don't know because both have their perks. I know either answer will leave me unsure, but I really don't know. It's confusing me and my mind has been stressing over this. I really want to do music, but it's hard because no one in real life even acknowledges my creations. I'll make something and they'll be like, oh, cool. And then they'll compare me to someone else and say that the other person has a better chance at being successful than I do. I don't care about fame or money. I live to entertain and impress people. So when all my hard work goes unacknowledged with a remark such as so and so has a better chance of being successful and makes better music, it hurts a lot. As for my drawings, people who treat me like garbage even admit that they're impressed with my ability to draw manga type stuff. But that recognition only lasts for a brief moment, or people just refuse to care. And also, knowing that there are so many other people who are way better than me makes me uninspired. I've also thought about voice acting. I want to voice act in anime and video game stuff, but I don't even know where to begin with that. How do I get over people's opinions? How do I stay inspired? And which one should I stick with and focus on? And that is from Cherry. That is a great question, Cherry. Thank you so much for posting that because, yeah, I think a lot of people face similar decisions as this. I know I've faced this decision, what path to pursue. And there are a lot of good paths, and it's just trying to decide the one. So I'm looking forward to what Ryan has to say because he's kind of got a lock on this, I think.
Oh, well, thanks for thinking so. Yeah, this is it's a really good question. Because you're trying to figure out your whole life here, right? You're trying to figure out what am I going to do for the rest of my life, sort of thing. What am I going to enjoy the most? And I think the answer to that is you won't know. You don't know. What are you going to do for the rest of your life? Well, the rest of your life, even though they say life is short, it's long enough to pursue multiple different things, right? There's no reason you could not pursue all of these. Now, of course, it's better to pursue one thing and focus on it at a time than it is to spread yourself out and try to focus on like a bunch of things and not get anything done.
Mm.
They say, like Leonardo and DiCaprio or something like no.
Hey,
Leonardo.
you know what they say? You know what they
Yeah.
say, Ryan?
What
They,
is
they they actually say that you're sounding a little bit staticky.
Oh, did they say that? When did they say
Yeah,
that?
just now, and it's kind of been that way the whole time you've been talking. But I
Oh,
was kind of giving it a chance to see if it would
all
smooth
right, let
out
me
a bit, but it's not really. So, I know, isn't that horrible? So, yeah, we are not above having technical difficulties from time to time. It happens. But even with technical difficulties, doesn't he still look amazing? And he looks way better on a shower curtain, which was really interesting that he would bring up the whole bathroom thing earlier in the show. Oh my goodness. How's it going now? Are you okay over there, Ryan? I hear you clicking over there. Are you just refusing to talk now? It's broken. What do you mean it's broken? Oh, like you can't see anything? Interesting. Wow, this is fun. We can hear you. Yeah, no, we can hear him. No, I don't know if he can. Yeah, so Ryan, yeah, it's totally not my mouse. That would be Ryan's. Can you see this? Try that. Oh, now he's muted his microphone. Yeah. Can everybody hear you, Jesse? No.
Suppose if I turn this on, now they can. Let me do this.
All right. Well, Ryan is restarting his computer, so
Allow me to.
he'll be back shortly. So
Hey,
in the meantime,
now it
what's
shows-
that?
Now it shows my name in Static Peas spot.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yep.
All right, Ryan will be back very shortly. His computer boots up quick. So, Cherry, I do want to offer you a little bit of encouragement in this situation, because there are a lot of things. It's very interesting because there's a lot of things that I have on my plate right now as far as what we're doing with BSS and all the different stuff. Because I've got music that I'm creating as CDVNL, and we've also got this show. We've got another YouTube show that we're creating right now. We've got another project for another gentleman, and we also have some other things in the works. And it's been some of these things are, shows like what we're doing here on Don't Worry Wednesday. Some of it's music. Some of it's just general inspiration. Some of it's more business support type stuff. So, I can definitely understand how it can be difficult to choose a direction at any given time. But I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't do more than one thing. It would just be you'd have to decide what you want to work on right now. And maybe that's the thing you're trying to figure out. Because it's very interesting, because if you want to get good at anything, it's going to require focus. Jesse, am I split screen right now?
Oh no, because it shows, because I put myself on, even though it only says my name, but
Gotcha.
I'm in Static Peas box right now, so you're good.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. But I would say if you want to get really good at something, it is going to require some focus. Now, it's not going to require your whole life focus, but it is going to require a little bit of focused energy. I just heard a story today about a guy who, he was a musician. He was kind of a background musician, played an instrument, and he rapped in a band. And he wanted to be a background vocalist. Like, he wanted to be a backup singer. And his bandmates told him, "No, we just don't really like your voice. Your voice just isn't that great." And so then what he decided he would do after a while of going through this, he left that band and then he wanted to work on other projects with other people. And he kept getting rejected as a singer because they just didn't like his voice. So what he did was he decided, okay, I'm going to take some voice lessons. I really want to be a lead singer. I want to do this like really bad. So he ended up starting to take some voice lessons and then practiced for only like a half an hour to an hour every day. And from there, now he is a lead singer, and I forget the guy's name. I'm going to have to look it up and find it. Maybe once. Yes, Rain Knight said he did want to be a backup singer. His bandmates didn't even want him as a backup singer. And now he's a lead vocalist. He's doing his own projects. He's done work with a whole bunch of different people. I'm going to have to look up who that was, and I'll have that, but I'll look it up once Ryan comes back. So, yeah, we'll see. Oh, geez. So just an update for Ryan. Looks like restarting his computer required him to update his computer. So that's why it's taken a little bit longer for him to come back.
So you want me to throw in my 2 cents there, Joe?
Yeah, that'd be great. You want to throw in your 2 cents?
Sure.
I'll look that up. It might be Jonathan. Let me see.
So I'd like to just briefly mention a couple things about my path and everything, and kind of related to you there, Cherry. Personally, I've been for the last 15 plus years of my life, I've always had this internal debate about what do I want to be doing with my IT career, because I love computers and I love doing that kind of thing. But I speak so little. Okay, I turned myself up. How's this?
Don't jump scary. I won't jump scary.
How's this? How's this? Is that better? How about now? Oh, is that better? Okay, I think that's better. It's right around the same as the output. So cool. All right. So like I was saying, for the past 15 years, or more, I've been in this internal struggle with myself, and how do I want to, what do I want to do within the IT department, And so, I've always had a knack for programming, and I've always wanted to jump into like a system administration piece, and I've always wanted to go down all of these different paths, like web development for some of it, and security for some of it, but in the end, like, I've realized that I'm just better off doing a bit of everything, and I feel like a real jack of all trades in that manner. And maybe sometimes that's what you want to end up doing. Maybe you really want to do everything in your path. You want to be drawing for Magna. You want to be making music. You don't have to be a master at everything, or at anything for that matter. Just keep in mind, if you do want to go down a route like that, you will probably have to put a lot of time and effort and energy into it, because they say it takes like what's the number, Joe? Like 10,000 hours to master something?
Yeah, they say 10,000 hours
just to master one thing, which is a lot of time of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you got options for sure, Cherry, and I would just encourage you to really go down each path and at least a little bit. And maybe you're gonna go down one of these paths and be like, maybe I don't really end up like doing this. You don't actually know. But that's what I got. And now that Ryan's back, hey, you're blue by the way, Ryan.
You look good. You look good with the blueness. You
You
kind
look
of
with
like
the blue hue there.
you're like the movie Avatar.
How do I sound?
You
You sound.
sound good.
Oh wow,
Ah, see, yeah,
wow.
it was worth it. No,
Oh,
it wasn't worth it.
But actually,
Um,
that wraps up my 2 cents. So you arrived just in time, Ryan.
I'm blue. Double double die.
And now
double
I'm
double.
gonna
Double
disappear back into the shadows.
Okay,
Nice.
I found who the person was. Because I just heard this today. Because yeah, what I was talking to Cherry about was that whatever she decides she wants to do, it is going to take some focus. You know, it is going to take some focused effort in order to do it. So you're going to have to probably pick one to do at any given time, but you don't have to limit yourself to that one thing for your whole life. You know, you can do more than one thing. Now this person is a musician. He's known as Brother James, Brotha James. And so that's the guy. So you can look him up, and he's on YouTube and Spotify and everything. So he's all over the place, Brother James. But yeah, he decided he wanted to become a singer songwriter. The funk band he was in, they wouldn't even let him sing background vocals because they didn't like his voice. And then he asked a few people to join him, you know, as he moved on to a different project. They didn't want to join him because they didn't like his voice either. So I got this in a book. It's called The Miracle Equation. I was just reading about this today. And this is what it says. It says, with unwavering commitment to making his dream a reality, he began taking singing lessons with 2 different vocal instructors. So he started taking lessons and learning. He practiced nearly every single day for 15 to 30 minutes a day. That's it. So that was his extraordinary effort. His commitment to effort was just 15 to 30 minutes a day, but it was the consistency of doing it every day. Now, if you take 15 to 30 minutes and work on being a musician, and then for other parts of the time you work on drawing or work on stories, you can get really good at both of them, you know, but it's just going to take that consistent effort over time, and then you can make it happen. So yeah, so he did that. He started that in 2013. So he was only 15 to 30 minutes a day. And so it seems pretty ordinary, that level of commitment. But what made it extraordinary was that he was consistent for a couple of years. And he got his first gig in 2014, and then he finally got a paid gig in 2015. Now he travels all over the place as an inspirational musician, and he's all over YouTube and has a ton of Spotify followers and everything like that. So anyway, I would encourage you that you don't necessarily have to pick, but no matter what you decide to do, if you want to take both of those, then I would just try and figure out a way to work into your schedule, you know, a half an hour, maybe you could even go more. Maybe you could put in an hour a day. But if you don't have much time, if you got a lot of other commitments to handle, this guy, 15 to 30 minutes every day, and he just made that part of his life every day for years, and ended up, you know, in a position where now he's got lots and lots of fans. So that's where I've got to start. Ryan, I will pass it back to you.
Cool. What'd you say?
What I just said.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and hold on, guys. Let me go back and rewatch it and waste more of your time. All right. Yeah. So it sounds like you were talking about, yeah, you don't necessarily have to pursue one thing. You can pursue both. But it is good to have a focus on something specifically. Now you can incorporate those together, you know, in some forms. Like for example, you can make videos of the manga that you draw and put background music to it. I mean, you know, stuff like that that's cool and it works. Um, but yeah, I mean, of course, your life is not too short. You have the chance to explore many different things and be good at many different things. Um, I think that um, a lot of times people think that when they get too old, they can't learn new tricks, but that's been proven wrong time and time again. If you spend the first half of your life doing manga and then the second half you decide you want to do music, you can do that. Um, take wherever you think life is leading you. Take the opportunities that are presented in front of you, and yeah, you know, um, I think that whatever you do, try to make it a force for good. There's a lot of content out there in these type of realms in both music and art and storytelling. I suppose all three of those. That's not healthy for the mind. That uh, causes more harm than good. Um, and I think it's important to be a force for good in all of that. So
Mhm.
if you want a reason to pursue something, maybe look at your options, say which of these do I have the most ability to affect people positively in, and then maybe that will give you a direction. Um, but other than that, besides that, I should say, you were asking, um, how do you get over people's opinions? How do you stay inspired? Uh, and so how you stay inspired is mostly by doing. When you're in the groove of doing something, it's a lot easier to be inspired by the things around you or be inspired by yourself and your own progress. Um, if you stay stagnant and don't work on anything, if you don't try to practice to improve, if you don't continue working on the projects you're working on, your inspiration will slowly go down and down and down, and nothing will pick it up until you just decide to start again, even though you're not inspired at all. So ultimately, staying in the projects that you've got going on, keeping uh, with your practice, um, and so on, that'll keep you inspired a lot better. Um, yeah, and then lastly, how do you get over people's opinions? Um, yeah, I think that can be tough for certain people. I think the most important thing to remember is that you are not your art. Um,
Mhm.
how good your art is determines 0% of who you are. Um, you might put your heart into something that you draw, but that doesn't reflect who you are. Someone can criticize a picture, but that's not criticizing you, that's criticizing the picture. And maybe you drew that picture, right? But that doesn't mean that you should be insulted because you're not that picture. You're an entirely different existence. Um, and um, it also helps to limit how good people make you feel when they compliment your stuff. Because if you start to get attached to how people are complimenting your stuff, then when people insult your stuff, you'll feel a lot more pain.
Mhm.
Um, it's good to separate yourself from the work that you do. To say like that is its own existence and I am my own existence. You can insult the work or you can praise the work and say, wow, that picture is really good or that picture is really bad. But that doesn't say anything about who I am. That says something about maybe my ability, but it doesn't say anything about who I am inside. That should not make me feel any emotion at all, really. Um,
Mhm.
other than gratitude for their, I guess, appreciation of it. But, you don't want it hurting you, because that's not gonna help you improve a lot of times. That's and, yeah. So if you want to, separate yourself, from other people's opinions, remember that their opinions are not facts, they're just opinions.
Mhm.
Everybody has their own opinions. Some
Mhm.
opinions are helpful, and some opinions are not helpful at all. Like, why is that an opinion? Like, that doesn't help anything in this world,
Mhm.
you know? Um, so why should it matter to me? A lot of times that's going to be the case. People might have opinions about, your art or your work, whatever, maybe your songs. But the thing is, there are going to be dozens of people out there who don't like it, and there are going to be dozens of people out there who do. Um, you're not worried about the people that don't like your work. You are 0% worried about the people that don't like your work. Why? Because they're not the people that are buying your stuff. They're not the people you're catering to. They're not the people that you're affecting. They're not the people you're sending messages to. They're not the people you're communicating with. So what does it matter if they don't like your work? What does it matter if they don't like your music? They're not the people. They're not your audience. Who is your audience? The people that like your stuff. They're the people that matter to you. They're the only people that you can affect, right? Because if they don't listen to your stuff, then you can't affect them. So I think if you want to stop worrying about what other people's opinions are, I think just try to get that, what I just said, in your mind, and kind of have a little bit of like, I don't know, an edge to you, if you will, to say, what's that matter to me if you don't like it? I can't affect you with it because you don't care about it. So
Right.
this is for a different audience than you. I didn't make this for you then, like, so I don't care. But yeah, that's my best advice on that. And I'm hopeful that helps.
hmm I love what you were getting to there, Ryan, because what you were talking about as far as, your audience is going to be the people who like your stuff. And more than likely, it's not going to be the people that are around you, that are close to you. It's not going to be the people that in your physical, location or whatever. It's not going to be the people around you. It's going to be others that just know you as that musician, right? I mean, and this has been the case for just about everybody, I mean, and it's a good thing, because if you are going to have a massive impact, like Ryan said, if you're going to get music or art or whatever it is, if it's going to get to something where it's big, like you were talking about, where you'd like it to reach a lot of people, and I'd like to be big in music, like Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco. You'd like to be big in something like that, right? It's going to have to expand beyond your general circle of friends anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it really doesn't matter if they like it or not, because your target audience is way bigger than just the people in your general vicinity. And I mean, it's even in the Bible. Jesus said, a prophet is without honor in his own town. And the people from Jesus's hometown, like, he couldn't really do miracles there because people had no faith in him, because they knew him growing up and stuff like that. And if Jesus had dealt with that, I mean, we're going to have to deal with it too, and it just kind of seems to be that way. So for so long, I dealt with that, where I made music and I really wanted to make it and create it and have people that I knew, that I went to school with, and people that I grew up with. I wanted them to like it and think I was cool because I did this stuff. But I got the same response that you're getting here. It was just like, oh, cool. And then the comparisons come in. Well, such and such. I mean, that's a lot better than what you're making there. And the thing is that's just a snapshot of the current situation. None of us can accurately factor in and predict what years of growth will do for an individual. Like, just because that's what it looks like now doesn't mean that's what it's going to look like 5 years from now, after you've been practicing for 15 to 30 minutes every day and working at it and working at it and working at it. And then all of a sudden, boom. Like, I look at what Static P comes out with now, and I compare that to what I heard years ago, 2007 or 2008 or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. However long ago, when I first started to experience the music of Ryan. And I mean, the elements were there, the elements of good songwriting, all these different little factors were there, but it just wasn't polished to the point where it is now. And people that listened to his stuff before, that didn't know what to listen for, they would just kind of dismiss it. Oh, like, really? You think that's going to be good? I'm like, yes, he's going to be good. Like, he is good already. I mean, it's just because he knows what to shoot for. It's just a matter of, doing it and continuing to do it for over time. And it's going to end up with a great product. And now we have what we have now. And if this is where it is now with Static P, I can't wait to see what it's going to be like 5 years from now.
It's going to be a little bit worse.
Only if, and
Some
I'll
people
say
might.
it, only if. See, here's the trap, because right now, Static P, there's some recognition there, there's some admiration there's some fans coming in. He's getting some accolades here. If Ryan decides to stop and read his own press clippings and fall in love with who he's become for right now, then he's going to come to a grinding halt. And that's the thing. We get so focused on the results of what we've done, we forget about the process that got us there.
Right.
And so if Ryan stops and admires his results, he's not going to move forward any further. Or it's going to take him a while to crank the machine back up to keep going. He's going to have to remind himself of just the effort that it took to get to the point where he is now. And really, the results are going to be the results. That's, we should detach ourselves emotionally from the results, because whether they're good or they're bad, they have the potential to be damaging. If the results we see are not good, they can be perceived as not good, then they can be discouraging. Excuse me. But if they're good, that's almost even a bigger trap, because then we start to kind of get arrogant and our ego gets a little bit inflated, and then we're like, oh, look at what I did, I'm pretty hot stuff here. And then you stop. So really, your success remains in the process. So if you decide you want to do art, then just keep doing art 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, whatever. If you decide you want to do music, then do music 15 minutes a day, half hour a day. Do it consistently every day. If you decide to do both, you can do both, but just schedule that amount of time every day and be consistent with it. And what's going to happen is you're going to see your skill and ability grow. And as long as you're making that public, a great place to do that is on bss.studio. And also, share it with the community, share it, and then you can share it with the world. There are different ways to do that. YouTube, Spotify, you can collaborate with different artists, different people to create great stuff. But as long as you stay in that process of growing and just let the results be the results, whatever they come, whatever they end up being, you're going to be way more fulfilled, because being in that process of growing is fun. And it's great. Like you feel like you're progressing and you're getting better and you're learning and you're growing, and it's cool and it's happy. But then when you all of a sudden like get to the point where, oh, no, I'm all that in a bag of chips, man, I'm awesome. Then you stop and you start to go backwards. So I would encourage you to just continue to grow in both of those. You'll be amazed at where you're going to be 5 years from now. I'm going to be amazed at where you'll be. And I hope to still be in contact with you and experience it. So
me too.
Yeah. So Ryan, what else? Do you have anything else on this one?
Nope, that's all I had. But yeah, I'm excited to see what you do with your life there. Because don't get too worked up about it or over it. A lot of times people wear themselves out thinking about what they're going to do without actually doing anything at all. A lot of times what you need to do is do something. Just pick something and start working on it. And you can pick both, because you have 30 minutes in your day, right? You can spend 15 minutes on both practicing, but yeah, you can't go wrong there. If you have two different things and you're wondering which one you should chase, well, pick one and chase it for a while. And then, get success there. And then, and then you can pick another option later if you like, but either way, I can't tell you which one you need to pick, but I think the best way to figure that out might be, which one do you think that you'll have the most influence with? The most positive influence. What way can you help the most people? I think that's a good way to start, because that attaches a certain sense of purpose. It gives you an inspiration to continue on, and really, really have a strong desire to do that because it affects more than just you. It affects the people that will become your fans someday and those type of things. So
Mhm.
yeah. So we wish you the best. And thank you for
Yeah,
the question.
absolutely. Thank you, Cherry. That's
Mhm.
awesome. So I see Lay is here,
Yes.
and let's see. And I see Akil is here, and I see Science is here also. I think I
What?
saw.
Who
Oh,
does?
Rain. Yes, Rain. Yep, Rain. We can do yours. Rain's got to leave soon, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yep. No problem, Rain.
So are we gonna do Reigns real quick, or are we
Yes.
going to? Okay.
We'll handle Rain's real quick here.
All right.
Rain is feeling ignored.
Hmm.
And let's see. So here's the thanks, Princess, for posting the link. So, okay. And it reads like this. Is it weird to feel invisible or ignored by the whole family? I feel sometimes ignored by or invisible to my family, and it sucks. I've tried to approach them, but they don't respond. Then I shrink into my shell when people look at me. That's what it feels like anyway.
Hmm.
And that's from Rain.
Yeah. Um. Okay.
So wow, thank you for posting, Rain, and hopefully we can get through this before you need to go to bed.
Yeah.
But Ryan, what do you have to start us off on this?
Yeah. I've heard of a lot of people feeling invisible or feeling ignored, not just by family, but family included. Sometimes by everybody around them in their class, at school, and things like that as well. Um, but yeah, is it weird to feel invisible or ignored by the whole family? Um, I would say it's not uncommon. It's not entirely uncommon, no. Is it weird? I would say it's not good. Um, so what I would s- I think that a lot of times when we feel invisible, it's because we're paying attention to how much people notice us, and we're noticing that they don't notice us. All right. Um, Now here's the thing. This is a weird answer to your problem, but if you didn't notice that they didn't notice you, you wouldn't feel ignored because you wouldn't be thinking about whether you're being ignored or not because you wouldn't be seeking the attention in the first place, right?
Mm.
I know it's a really weird way to say it because it's kind of like saying, yeah, I'm using the same word multiple times in the same sentence, and that makes it kind of weird. But if you didn't notice them not noticing you, right? If you didn't notice them not noticing you, you wouldn't feel ignored because you wouldn't notice. You wouldn't be thinking about it, right? So it seems to me like what you really want here is for people to appreciate you,
Mm.
for people to acknowledge you, for people to make you feel important, and that's good. We all desire that in our hearts. We all desire love. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, and sometimes, thing is, the people around us aren't going to give it to us. Um, we can't expect them to, because that's on them. We can't expect them to go out of their way for us, um, because I guess you can't really expect others to love you. Um, that doesn't mean that no one loves you, and that doesn't mean they can't love you. In fact, it's just the way that love works. It's not something that is earned. It's something that's freely given. Um, and sometimes people do love you, um, but you can't see it very well. I know that I've lived a large portion of my life feeling unloved and feeling like everybody hates me. Um, but that was in my head. Um, turn Turns out that that wasn't the case. As I grew up and I re-examined it later, I was like, you know what? All these people loved me, and I was just not paying attention to the way that they were loving me. They were focused on their own things because they had things they had to focus on, and I just because I didn't happen to be at the forefront of their mind all the time or always being able to be answered by them or that sort of thing doesn't mean that they were necessarily ignoring me. It's just that they had their own things that they were focused on. Um, and not being one of those things doesn't mean I'm worth any less. Um, and it doesn't mean like they were intentionally ignoring me, intentionally pushing me out of the way. I just felt that way. Um, Now, I don't know exactly what you're going through. I don't know, how you're being treated, and I can't say that you are experiencing the same thing that I experienced before. But um, I can at least give that a little bit of insight, and that is people aren't usually looking at you. People are usually looking at themselves.
Mhm.
And everybody is looking at other people to determine how they are looking at themselves. Rather, almost everybody in the world is always looking at themselves. And then when they look at other people, it's to identify how that other person is looking at them. Like if I look at Joe, a lot of times I might look at Joe and say, what does Joe think of me? That's instead of thinking, how do I feel about Joe? Usually I'm like, how does Joe feel about me? And then I let that determine how I feel about Joe. Like that's weird. And that's not right.
But it's true.
But that's what everybody does.
Uh-huh.
Everybody relates to themselves and looks at other people to ask, how is that person treating me? How is that person thinking of me? What is that person doing for me? Um, and that's kind of our natural human state. I think it's good for us to try to get away from that a little bit. It's good to it's good to pay attention to ourselves for sure. I mean, we got to eat, we got to breathe, we got to drink, we got to survive, right? We got to do good for other people. We got to survive in order to do good for other people. But at the same time, it's 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 a good thing to sometimes genuinely look at another person and ask, how are they doing? How are they feeling? Um, how do they think I feel about them? See, how do instead of asking how do they feel about me, switch it around and say, how do I feel about them? And do they know I feel that way? Do they know that I appreciate them? Let me tell you, one of the things that you can do if you spend some time openly letting other people know that you appreciate them, you'll be surprised that they might say some things back to you that make you realize that they appreciate you too.
Mhm.
They just weren't thinking about the fact that they needed to say something like that to you. Until you say it to them, they're not thinking about going out of their way to tell you that they appreciate you, that they love you, and that they're worried about you. Because sometimes people worry about each other, but they don't say anything because they don't want to make things weird, right? Um, you know, so there's all sorts of different things that can happen here. But I think that my best advice is to go to other people and let them know that your focus is on them. Put your focus on them. Let them know that your focus is on them, that you want the best for them and that you're impressed by them. Tell them the things that you're impressed by them about. Tell them how much you appreciate them and why you appreciate them. Spend some time doing that. And then, what's probably going to happen? They'll return that favor. They're likely going to say, not only just thank you, or probably they won't say thank you. They'll just be like, no, come on, man. Like, I'm not that good of a person. A lot of people like to push that kind of stuff off or away. But then they'll turn around and be like, no, you're the one that's like that. Um, but if you spend time focusing on other people, what I think the main thing that will happen here, regardless of how other people treat you, a lot of people will probably treat you really nicely after you do that. But regardless of how other people treat you, the main thing that you'll be doing is you'll be changing the way your brain works so that instead of feeling invisible and lonely and ignored, your brain won't be focusing on how other people are paying attention to you anymore, but instead your brain will be focusing on how can I show them that I'm paying attention to them. And when you're not focused on being ignored, you don't feel ignored. When you're not focused on the negatives in life, you don't feel negative. When you're not focused on art, right? If you're not focused on art, a lot of times you don't see the art in front of you. But if you start focusing on art, everything around you becomes art because it's all visual. And it's like, wow, that's amazing how they did this and this. Wow, it's amazing how my monitor is built. And it's like actually pretty nice looking, you know, as an art form. But I didn't realize that my art was pretty in that way until I focused on the concept of art. And that's just the way our brains work. So if you don't worry about being invisible and ignored, because chances are that's just the way you feel. And you're going to notice that more and more and more. There was a movie put out where and it was a really interesting movie. It was kind of a psychological movie, and it was kind of a little too weird. But there was a movie where this person happened to stumble across a certain set of numbers, and then it was some kind of code. I forget the name of the movie. Maybe somebody has it, but as they went through their life from that moment on, they started to notice those numbers everywhere. Like, oh my gosh, this train station has those numbers on this advertisement. Wait a minute. This taxi up in front of me has those numbers on their license plate. Follow them. Like, they must be part of this secret thing going on. You know, like they were looking around for these numbers and they started seeing the numbers everywhere. And what happens to us psychologically is when we fixate on being ignored, we're going to think that everybody's ignoring us anytime that anyone does anything that could be even perceived as them ignoring us, even though that is not their intention at all. They were never thinking about trying to ignore you. I know that I have done that to myself many times, where I'm like focused on something and I start to notice other people. Like, I used to think everybody hated me. So anytime anybody did anything that I could kind of twist into them, they must hate me or something. That's why they did that. They didn't hate me. They were just, they didn't even notice me. They were just doing whatever they were doing. You know, it was like, it had nothing to do with whether they hated me or not. I just kind of twisted into that because I was so focused on that. So now that doesn't mean that you aren't being ignored. I don't know your situation, but ultimately what I'm saying here is if you can stop worrying about being ignored, then at least that feeling will go away. And then you can progress with life a little bit better. But anyways, I've spoken for a while. I'll let Joe have a go here.
Man, Ryan, I'm so glad you touched on that stuff, because one of the things that we get caught in the trap of is being self-conscious, of being way focused on ourselves, and we forget that everybody's focused on themselves, and we think that you look at the world. I love that, how you put that. We, instead of thinking about how another person is doing, we think about what they're thinking about us. Mm-hmm. Because that is so true. I mean, that's kind of how we build our world. And I was thinking, as you were talking about that, it's like, it's a wonder that we get along with anybody. Right? Because we all act that way. Like, it's
amazing.
It's amazing. So, but there are a couple books here that came to mind. You know how I always got to recommend a book or two. But the first one I'm going to post a link to here is called The Question Behind the Question by John G. Miller. So there's a link to that one. And then the next one is going to be How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People by Les Giblin. Both of those books are going to be great resources as far as dealing with this, because I think one of the things, I dealt with this for so many years of my life, Rain, and I tell you, it is such a challenge, because I always felt, if I wasn't being ignored, I always felt like I was being looked down on or looked at as someone who was, second rate, or someone who didn't measure up, someone who wasn't following the proper path or something. I always felt that people were looking at me like that. And when I learned that people aren't paying attention to me, they're thinking about themselves, it still didn't really sink in. I remember hearing that over and over and over and over and over again. That, hey, people aren't thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. So don't worry about what they think, because they're not thinking about you. And I would hear that over and over again, and it still didn't quite really sink into my head until I got a job as a property inspector, and I started dealing with the day-to-day operations of that, which, if you don't know what, I was a property inspector in the mortgage area. So I'm doing mortgage-related property inspections, and we are not the most liked people out there in the world. We show up and we take pictures of a house, and then people come out and they yell at us and they scream at us and they call us names and they swear and they call the police, and it's great fun. So Ryan's been there before. But at any rate, after doing that for a while and just getting hammered with insults and yelling and people being mean, first of all, if the trouble is being ignored, it's a great profession. You will not be ignored.
You want to be ignored.
Right.
You're like, I want to be able to take these pictures and no one see me.
Right. If I can get through my day, have nobody notice what I'm doing, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
But what I learned through this experience, what I learned was these people aren't mad at me. They're mad because I show up. But it's not me they're mad at. They don't know me at all. They're mad because of their situation. Just like Ryan was getting at. People are concerned about themselves. They're concerned about themselves and what they are going through. That's exactly what's happening here. Even though they're taking it out on me when I show up, what really they're upset about is the situation they're in. And the situation may or may not be within their control. It may or may not be their fault. But either way, it's frustrating. It's a frustrating situation that they're in. And when I came to grips with that and I started to learn that, it helped me have a little bit of compassion for these people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I mean, I would be upset too. And so then I started to think, how can I approach these people so that I can help them through this situation? If I show up understanding that they are stressed out, what can I say or do that's going to help alleviate the stress a little bit, or that's going to calm them down a little bit? Just how can I act for these people to help them in some way? And when my focus shifted from, oh my gosh, they're going to be mad at me. Oh, I'm mad at them back because they're mad at me, to, man, they're having a real challenge. What can I do to kind of ease their pain a little bit? What words can I use that'll help? And it really helped me develop what I say when someone, sees me out there and they come out and exchange words with me. And now, because of how I say things, it calms them down usually, and, helps them, take it down a couple notches. But the illustration that I'm bringing to with that is just that it comes to what Ryan was saying, and that is, be focused on those other people. And that's what the question behind the question book deals with a lot. Because when the character in that book, it's laid out like a story, so it's really easy to read, and it's fun. And you'll learn a lot from this story. But the person who's the main character in that story is really self-conscious, and he ended up being a people pleaser because he had felt, bullied or rejected a lot in his life. Maybe much like you, the feeling of being ignored, that's a lot the same as being rejected. It's just kind of like silent rejection. you know, because you feel like your presence even is not even being acknowledged. So like you show up and you try and talk and they're just ignoring you, and that really, really hurts because it's a subtle form of rejection. And I totally understand how that feels. And for one, I want to tell you, Rain, that you are valuable. You are infinitely valuable. And no matter what other people are doing around you, you are a human being created with infinite dignity. And you're a beautiful person. And your existence is an absolute anomaly, which means it's totally unique and totally special. And you are worth, you are priceless. You are of infinite value. So I hope I can get that across to you, because a lot of times when we deal with this type of situation, we can feel like, a second-rate human being. We can feel like we're not worthwhile. We can feel like, we're just not really worthy of anything. So I want to help you, at least in that regard, and let you know that you are valuable. And then the next thing you can do is, when you can take your thinking and you can shift it from thinking about yourself and wondering about how others are perceiving you to thinking outward and thinking about them. The character in this book, Question Behind the Question, they started off being a people pleaser. And so everything they did was trying to make people happy with them. They wanted to show up in the situation and they wanted people to be happy with them. They wanted to be happy that they were around. And so they would do anything they could to please the people around them. And what happened was they ended up kind of becoming a doormat for people. And instead, what he learned throughout the process of what he learned through the book is he learned to, rather than be concerned about what people are thinking of him, he was more concerned about the other person. And so he would ask questions. Anytime you're in a situation where you're talking with people, you're coming up to somebody and you're dealing with another person, if you get really good at asking questions, noticing things and asking questions of people, then people want to answer those questions. And if you ask a question about them, how they're doing, what they do for a living, how's school going, how's work going, something, anything that kind of breaks the ice in that direction, how's things going in your life, and let them talk a little bit. And then as they're talking, really listen. And what's going to happen is they're going to say something that you can then ask another question about. And in the Question Behind the Question, those are called signposts. So you're looking for signposts in their response to your question, so you can ask another question and dig in a little bit deeper. And before you know it, you might have sat there for a half an hour letting them talk and just drawing them out by asking more and more questions. They leave and they think you're the best conversationalist they've ever had the privilege of talking to. And all you did was say, really? No kidding. Wow. So how did you handle that? And you just ask another question. You might have said like 6 or 7 words the whole time and let them talk. But they think, whoa, you're this great conversationalist. And you hardly said anything.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I tell you, Rain, I understand where you're at, and it's a total trap. It can feel like you're stuck. But I think if you can learn how to notice other people and ask questions, you're going to be welcome and admired wherever you go, because you're going to make people feel good. Ryan has said it on previous streams. It's not about how it doesn't matter what people think of you. It doesn't matter. That's not the primary thing. What really matters is how people think about themselves when they're in your presence. So it doesn't matter what they think of you. It matters how you make them think about themselves. And if you can help people feel good about themselves when they're around you, I would bet you're going to have a really tough time being ignored. And then you're going to end up going through your day like we do as property inspectors. I hope people just don't. I just want to be ignored right now, because then it gets to be a little too much, and that's how it goes. But check out those books, Question Behind the Question, and How to Have Power and Confidence, or How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People. And those will really give you some good insights as to how people work and how our inner workings are and how human nature works. And then you can learn to work with human nature. So then it becomes this game when you're there. And it's kind of fun. So Rain, I hope that's helpful for you. Ryan, did you have anything else to say
Nope.
about that?
Thanks, Joe. And thank you very much, Rain. I hope that didn't take too much of your time. I know you got to go to bed, so I'll let you go do that. But yeah, thanks for chilling with us for a while, and we really hope the best for you on this. And we love you. So thanks for coming by.
Yeah. Thanks, Rain. And remember, we love you here. You keep coming back. You will always find people who love you here on the stream and at bss.studio. Science Rock says people are weird, and he's totally right.
Yeah, that's true. Weird is good.
Yep. Ryan especially, he's weird.
Thank you, Joe. I love you too.
I'm weird.
I mean, wait, what? You're weird too. Or whatever. Whatever you said. I think you said I love you, right? When you call it, yeah. No, I like being weird. That's just how it is.
Nice. So I see Lay is here, Science is here. If we're going in order from when they were posted, Lay would be next.
Let's do Lay's. Lay is with us. He's being
Yeah.
talkative. I like that.
Very talkative.
Bree,
So,
I love you so much. You're awesome. You're an exceptional human being with an outstanding personality also. But thank you very much. You're very good. Shampoo again. Bread. A knife. Yes. Okay.
Bree, welcome to the stream. It's so great to see you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I gotta shave. I just looked at myself and I'm like, wow, my beard is kind of long.
Yeah, you do. You need to shave.
Yeah, hold on. I'll just do this for the rest of the stream.
That's perfect.
Don't worry about it.
Cover up part of your face.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I have no hair underneath this.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's Wednesday.
I don't know. My hand actually, I just glued it here. That's why my hand is stuck here. I accidentally glued it with hot glue. It hurt a little bit.
Ouch.
So.
Wow.
No, I'm all right.
That's good.
So should we send me a razor? No, I mean I can do it. I just deathly afraid of shaving my beard because it hurts my hairs, and they have no feeling in them, so it just makes me sad. I just can't feel, and that they have to leave, even though this is their home. It's a little mortifying to see my beard hairs fall into the garbage can. Right? Like everybody goes through that, right? That's normal.
I know.
Anyways,
it's a painful experience. I know.
Yeah. So we got Lace here.
Yes, it is called Promises Changed and Broken. And there's the link. Master Lay, not sponsored by any shave clubs. Yes, that's true.
Nice, Bree.
Static P is not sponsored by a shave club.
That is right. You can tell by my face.
So, all right. So this is from Lay, and it's called Promises Changed and Broken. And it goes like this. So my mom promised she'd do a certain thing for me once I finished studying for that day. So I went studying. Then she changed the terms and said she'd do that certain thing once I tidied the room. So I did. Then it became go check on the furnace, etc., etc. Dad came home and eventually he did that for her. I did point out that Mom promised she'd do that instead, and then all hell broke loose. with my mom complaining about a dozen more things she came up with at that moment. How do I even react to that? How do I avoid these moments? Is it okay to feel sad over that?
Mm.
And that's from Lay.
Ah,
Thank you for posting, Lay.
yeah.
And it's always great to see you.
Yeah. I'm happy to see you here. Um,
Yes, Jesse.
um, so okay. This is interesting because I think that last or this post ties in a bit with that last post from Rain. Oh my gosh, from Rain. And that is, a lot of times people aren't paying attention to other people around them. They're focusing on themselves, and that's not necessarily evil. It's not bad, but rather you kind of have to give people compassion and patience because people are sometimes um, a little bit oblivious, and they're not focused on you. You know. I'm not trying to say in any way that you're being selfish by wanting what was promised to you.
Hmm.
Not at all. That's normal. That's called healthy jealousy. When you aren't getting something that's owed to you is called jealousy as well, but it's a healthy form of jealousy where it's like, well, I was promised. Um, so, like your question here is, how do you react to that? How do you avoid the moments? And is it okay to feel sad over that? Um, so emotions. I'm going to start with the last one first here. Is it okay to feel sad over that? Now, emotions are reactions. They're reactions a lot of times that we don't necessarily pick. Um, to some degree, we can inspire sadness in with ourselves, but it's usually a reaction to something. Um, Emotions are reactions. Reactions, I would say, a lot of times are neither good nor bad. A lot of times neither holy nor evil. Um, Sometimes they can be, but most of the time they're not. Most of the time, it's what we make of them. Is it okay to feel sad? Yeah, it's okay to feel sad over that. It's okay to feel disappointed. Surely. I mean, it would be very natural to feel disappointed, and that cause a reaction of sadness or um, maybe even anger in some people. Is that wrong? No. How you react on that, of course, can decide whether it's wrong or not. If you, if your sadness gets you in a funk where you just kind of shut down, then you're not doing anything good for yourself in that, and you're not helping the other people around you. You're not aiding them in overcoming this situation. If other people are being selfish and you just kind of shut down, then that kind of can be bad, um, because it's not leading to a good, healthy solution in the end. It's just leading to you backing off and doing nothing, right? But on the other end of that, if your emotion is like anger or something, and it forces you to do something, but that something is spiteful or mean or hateful, or it's envious and such that you want harm on the other person, well, then it is bad. Um, it's it it doesn't aid anybody to inflict harm on somebody just because you felt like you deserved something or you were promised something and you didn't get it, right? That's not going to help you get it faster a lot of times. Um, and not only that, that's not going to keep your relationship with that person in good standing, especially when it's someone like your mom, right?
Mhm.
Um, a lot of times it doesn't pay off to get angry at our parents. Um, uh, so, and a lot of times it doesn't help us to fight with our parents or bicker or say, you said this and you didn't give it to me, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times that just makes them more angry, um, because a lot of times they know what they said and they know where they're failing because they're humans too. They know where they messed up. But then you have something like pride that gets in the way, and it's like, you messed up. And it's like, well, now I don't want to give it to you because you called me out on my errors, which makes me feel even worse. So, of course, I don't want to give it to you now because, or whatever that thing was, right? Of course, I don't want to do it for you now because now you've made me upset, and you've called me out on it, which I don't appreciate, you know? A- Everybody's like that. Every human is like that. Um, unless they have had that mental thought before where they're like, if someone calls me out on something, I'm going to own up to it and try to do the right thing. But I'll tell you what, most people aren't there yet. Most people just aren't there yet. Or some people are there some days, and most days they're not. That's just how it is. And so you just have to be patient with people. Um, you have to understand that people mess up, and you have to be forgiving. We've said it many times in this channel, but to have a relationship with someone but never be able to forgive them for anything they ever do is to basically have the worst kind of relationship possible.
Mm.
Because you can't have a healthy relationship with anybody if you don't forgive them.
Mhm.
Now, forgiveness in this sense um, doesn't mean that they never did anything wrong, right? It just means that you aren't worried about the wrong that they did anymore, and you'd rather help the relationship to continue to improve. Um, so, anyways, is it bad to feel sad? No. Just make sure that when you feel these emotions, you're still trying to choose the right option. You're trying to choose the best option for everybody, right? Um, and so, if it if walking away is the best option, cool. But sometimes shutting down can be more harmful than good when it comes to helping a relationship recover over something like this that just happened. Um, sometimes we have to take a step back. Like you asked, how do you react to this? When you are promised something, if you do something and you do that, and then they ask you another thing, and then you do that, and they ask you another thing, and you do that, and then they're like, "Well, I'm not going to give it to you still, right?" So, or they freak out at you, or maybe they do give it to you, but they still freak out at you. How do you react? Um, the best way you can react is take a step back and acknowledge that whatever's going on right now doesn't have to affect how you feel about that person. And it doesn't have to affect your relationship with them. And it does not have to affect what you say next. A lot of times when I see people who are struggling with something, they're freaking out about something, or even if they're freaking out at me, right? A lot of the times, the best thing I've ever done in any of those situations was to take a step back mentally and go, let's see, what can I say that will make this person feel good right now? What can I say that will make this person feel like they're at ease and I'm not mad at them so that they can calm down? What can I say right now that will not necessarily distract them from the situation, but pull them out of the emotion that's tied into it? Um, a lot of times that's complimenting them on something. And a lot of times that throws people for a loop. They're like, whoa, what? Thank you. Like, because you, if someone's wanting, or if someone, like, okay, let's say this exact situation happens to me, right? And then they start freaking out at me for wanting what they owe me, right? Um, if I instead of getting upset and saying, arguing with them or whatever, or backing down, or just walking away or whatever, or just kind of going quiet, instead of doing any of that, if I take a step back and think, what can I do here that will help my mom get out of this funk? Um, I should probably, one of the best things I could do is say, I'm sorry, mom. Sounds like something's going on. Anyways, can I have a hug? It's kind of weird, right?
Mhm.
But it will make your mom go, what? you know? And hopefully it will remove her from her emotions that are causing her to act like this. Um, so instead of and of course you don't want to be sarcastic, like you just said, you don't want to be sarcastic.
Mhm.
Um, but you want to be sincere, and you want to try to break them from their emotions. So saying, like, oh, sounds like you've got a lot going on. I'll ask for it later. But can I have a hug? And then asking that is going to be really, for your mom, because she's your parent, asking for a hug is probably okay, right? Or even your friend, right? Um, or maybe, saying, like, complimenting her on something. Um, if you say like, okay, don't worry about it. We'll do it later. But yeah, hey, by the way, um, I noticed that, blah, blah, blah the other day, and I was really impressed. So, um, yeah. Or, I noticed you did this for me the other day. So I was really appreciating that. Thanks, ma'am. Um, whatever it is, right? If you try to say something that will help deter her from her emotional state, that's probably the best method. Um,
Mhm.
but whatever that is, now you can come up with that on your own because you know her better than I do. You know your relationship. You know what's been happening between you two. You know the history there. I don't. But yeah, that's those are my best. That's my best I can do for you right now. And I'm excited to see what Joe has to bring to the table. So I'll let him have a go for that.
Yeah, what Ryan was saying was absolutely spot on. And practically speaking, that's absolutely what you should do. Because that's going to probably catch your mom off guard. When you respond with something nice and loving, and it's going to kind of shift everything, and it'll probably you'll kind of knock her off balance a little bit as far as the tirade she's on a little bit. You know what I mean? So, and it can really go a long ways as far as, helping to mend the situation. Because what you're doing there is you're inserting love into the relationship again, where, there might be some resentment, there might be some, you know, just generally bad feelings going on. And when you come back with love, that can really go a long way to not only helping the situation, but helping your mom out. And here's the thing. So the only thing I can add, first of all, go back and listen to what Ryan said again. And, replay that part multiple times, because that's going to give you a lot of practical things you can do. What I would only add is what could be going on in your head. Now, as Ryan said, and as I saw in the chat, it's okay to be sad. That's a feeling. It's totally fine. And it's normal in this situation. I mean, you kind of feel slighted a little bit. And I saw in the chat where you said, Master Lay, that your dad kind of, he did the thing she was supposed to do. So he took care of it for her. And then he did say, well, mom is like that. So he understands. I mean, he married her. So,
You married her, yep.
so he knows how she is. And one of the things to think about is, how hard would it be for you? Now, this is hard from the perspective of a kid looking at your parent. This is very difficult. But can you look at your mom with some compassion and maybe pity for the condition that she's in? Because for someone to act that way and respond that way isn't healthy for you or your dad or for her. That's a sign of something going on that's not right. I mean, whether it's some kind of an emotional challenge she's having, maybe there's all kinds of stuff bearing down on her in her life that's causing her a lot of stress, that's causing her to react a certain way. And maybe there's just a whole life situation going on that you may be unaware of because she's kept it to herself and kept it, all bottled up. And this is kind of the steam coming out from that situation. So one thing is to maybe, as Ryan said, take a step back and just think in your head, mom must just be really having a tough time. So what kind of things can I do that are going to help her feel better? And I dealt with that with some close relationships in my life, various, throughout my life. And I remember kind of getting to that point where what was I saying to myself? There was this person that was always mad at me all the time. No matter what I did, mad. That was the response, right? And I had no escape from this person. Like, I was there. We were in this situation together, and no matter what I did, they were mad. I would try to do things that made them happy, and they were mad. I would try to do the right thing, and they were mad. I would try to do the wrong thing because I thought that's what they wanted, and they were mad.
Darn.
So what I figured out finally was like, it's like, wait a minute. No matter what I do, they're going to be mad. Okay, well, at least I know that for sure. I'm just going to make sure I do what I think is right. They're going to be mad anyway. So I'm just going to do what's right, and I'm not going to worry about it. And because they're mad, what I know is there's something going on inside of them that's challenging for them, that's stressful for them, that's hurting them. And the more I can do to be loving and helpful and help them understand that their being mad doesn't affect me, because that's half the reason they're being mad, is because they're trying to affect me in a certain way. And if I show them that it doesn't affect me, I just take all their ammunition out, and now it's not worth it for them to be mad anymore. They probably don't like being mad anyway.
It's not really a good feeling.
No, it's not.
You hate yourself afterwards usually.
I'd much rather be happy than mad. But their being angry at me was what they were using to get to me, and that was the purpose for it. So when I started to show that it didn't get to me, I didn't care if they were mad or not. I was going to do what was right anyway. I don't care. And I would say even, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that this hurts you, but this is the right thing to do because this, and this. And I would use just really ridiculous amounts of logic. Let's say, and I'm sorry. I know it sucks. I'm sorry. But that there softened things a little bit, and it helped. And it all started with just me understanding, look, they're having a tough time. Okay. How can I do this in the most loving and compassionate way? How can I do this with a selfless attitude where I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, how can I help them? So, Master Lay updates. I know I'm a bit too hot-headed, even as an adult, to think beyond the conversation. Yes, I understand. It says, I'm too stupid, too ignorant, too me to always look beyond what happened in said conversation. Yeah, I can totally understand that sentiment. But the more you can look outside yourself, the better things can get. And sometimes it takes us getting beaten down verbally for a while to finally realize, hey, it doesn't matter. I remember dealing with that long enough, this person being mad at me, until finally I just had to chuckle. It was funny. One day, I'll never forget the situation, standing outside, and they were getting mad at me, and I just kind of, I just chuckled a little bit. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do.
I've been there before.
I'm sorry.
Where I can't help but like someone's like yelling at me, and I'm just like start laughing, and I'm like, why are we laughing?
What's so funny?
I just like, I'm in a position here where I can do nothing else anyways. I don't know why you're yelling at me. It's just like, sorry.
Yep. So, wow. So thank you. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have. So just go back, listen to what Ryan said. remember to have a little bit of compassion, like she's going through a tough time. And that's where these feelings, this attitude, and this situation comes from. There's something going on that's stressful and hard. And yeah, so just do that, and I think that would probably help. But Ryan, did you have anything else?
Nope. I think that about covers it. Well said.
Yeah.
It's just like, I guess, Master Lay, you said it can be hard to try to kind of get out of yourself, and being capable of removing yourself enough so that you can actually figure out what's the best action to take right here in this moment. And that's just a matter of trying to do that, trying to remind yourself in the moment, trying to remind yourself outside of the moment to do that. Make a conscious effort right now. Say, like, I'm going to do that. And then next time it happens, hopefully it will click in your head like, wait a minute. Hey, remember there's that thing you were going to do. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, right. So that's all it takes, is getting that trigger to start triggering. And it's mostly just habit. A lot of times it's being in the right moment, especially if you know something's coming. So that's also kind of what helps. If you know it's coming, it makes it so much easier to be in the right moment, in the right mind frame. Like, you know that your mom's coming home later or something, right? And you're like, she's usually mad after she gets home, so that'll probably happen. All right, you've already got it in your mind. You're expecting it from this person, right? So now when it happens, you've got the upper hand here. You've got the upper hand, not over them, over yourself. So it's just reminding yourself to do it. And then the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And then it becomes a part of you. Like you said, you quoted yourself, just being yourself. You quoted yourself saying me before. So I'm saying you in that same sense. It becomes a part of you, because it becomes a habit to be able to take a step back when people are angry at you and try to figure out what's the best thing to do. But anyhow, that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lay.
Well, yeah, Lay, and good luck. That can be a difficult situation. It's definitely volatile and tough to navigate. But if you can just remember to actively love your mom, that will go a long way. A lot of things will come from you. Whatever you say and do will just exude that love. But just keep that in your heart the whole time. So thank you, Lay,
Thanks, Lay.
for the question.
We love you, and we appreciate you trying so hard to be an amazing person. You are an amazing person, so just keep it up.
Yes, you are. There are two more I want to get to. You think we have time?
Yeah.
Because I see Science is here and Keaton is here. And Keaton, we promised you we'd get to yours this time.
Yep.
And Science, yours came before Keaton's.
Why did you do that, Science? Oh my gosh.
I know, it's crazy. So, but I'd like to handle both of them.
Okay. So would you like to start with?
Well, Sciences came first, so we'll start with Sciences.
All right.
And Sciences is called, I'm sorry. What?
I'm sorry. No, you're fine, dude.
Science says do Keaton's.
Keaton probably says do Sciences. So.
Well, we've done some of Sciences before. Keaton, this would be the first one of Keaton's we ever have done.
That's true.
All
right.
So Science, I'm gonna take your advice, and we'll do Keaton's first.
Okay.
Because Keaton, first of all, Keaton, if you guys haven't had communication with Keaton, she is absolutely tremendous.
Awesome, wonderful
person.
Sure.
Yes, she is one of the first to post a response to people's topics on the website, and she's generally very active in the chat. Right now she's not. I hope she's here.
Keaton, she might be here. I don't know. She was literally here like moments ago.
Yep, still here. Good. All right. Sweet. And this is called Self-Doubt and Ramblings. And I will post the link to it there.
Now, did you read this beforehand, Joe?
I started to read it just now, and actually reading through some of it explains a lot about how she's become the person she is. Just the tremendous, strong person that she is and helpful person.
Yeah.
Even at the end, Jesse, I will just say for Jesse, she even gave you a summary at the end.
Yeah, she made it easy for you, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Bottom.
So
Thank you. I don't know if you heard it, but he's very pleased.
yes. So, all right. So this is from Keaton. And it goes, I feel tainted. I've been divorced. I have a child. I am a walking paraplegic. I'm just broken and a mess, but I'm sure of myself and I know how much I'm worth. Yet I still feel like I'm never going to be good enough. Who would want a single mom who can barely walk? Who would want a woman that let herself be literally beaten and degraded? Who would want to be around someone like that? I have severe PTSD. I've finally gotten my panic attacks under control, so that's a victory. But I can't even begin to explain the helplessness I feel at times. I feel so utterly useless. I can't play with my daughter. I can't run around. I can't do so many things anymore. If I want to go to the zoo with Evie, for example, I have to make sure I have my wheelchair. My body wouldn't be able to take being up like that for long. I hurt so much all the time. I second guess myself far too much. I am sitting on a fence, rocking back and forth from absolute confidence and complete self-doubt. I don't like admitting my weaknesses. I don't like admitting that I was literally beaten up for almost a year. I don't like admitting my fear to anyone. I'm supposed to be the strong one. I'm supposed to be sure of myself and there for others. I know it's okay to be weak and reach out to people. I encourage people to do so enough. And I know it's okay to feel down and afraid. I just don't know how to get over this crippling, no pun intended, injury. A little background on it. August 14th, 2017, at around 2:30, my brakes failed as I was on a curve and I spun out and hit a ditch that popped my car up and into a tree. My injuries included a burst fractured L1, broken L2 and L3, and a cracked L4 and L5. I had a bruise on my forehead that lasted 3 months. I ended up with a tear in my aorta, 3 cracked ribs, a cracked sternum, and was bruised from my left shoulder down to my right hip. I ended up being diagnosed as a T12 Asia A complete paraplegic. For those that don't know what that means, it means that I had 0% chance to ever even think about feeling my legs. I spent a month in the hospital, away from my life, away from my daughter, all alone almost. My boyfriend, ex now, stayed with me for a while though. And by stayed, I mean he was out drinking and doing whatever with money that wasn't his. He continued to abuse me there. He told me that no one would ever want someone like me now. I was already a problem before, and now being broken meant that I was lucky to even have someone like him with me. He cheated on me, used me for my money, trapped me, beat me, and broke me down so much that I literally became a shell. I became nothing. I was finally able to get out, and I am the happiest I have ever been. I am so sure that I am worth greatness. I am so sure that I am okay. My life is brighter, and I am now who I am meant to be. And yet, I can still hear how useless I am. I still hear him saying that no one is going to want to deal with a burden like me. And I know I'm difficult now. I can't help my injury. It happened and I beat all odds and started walking. I accomplished greatness and he took that away from me. It was never enough. I was never enough. This is the first time I've ever actually put this in writing. I'm scared. I don't know who to go to. I have to be strong, but I can't help thinking that I'll end up being alone in the end. His words constantly echo, telling me that no one could love me like that because I'm tainted, basically. No one would want me because I have a child. No one would want me because of my injury. No one would want me because I'm nothing but trouble. But that isn't fair. I didn't do this to myself. It happened. I overcame something impossible, and yet it was still not enough. I hurt so much, and I think I'm just now realizing how lost I actually feel. I am so scared. I don't usually feel this way, but the fact that this feeling keeps popping up at times means that I probably need to get it addressed in some fashion. I know to take my time and let things come. I would honestly go through all of that again just to get where I am now. All of that made me who I am today. I can't regret it happening, but I can't help the lingering feeling that he was right. No one is going to look at me and want to be with me. I'm not saying I am unhappy. I just can't help thinking that he was right. I talk myself through all of those feelings and can usually work them out of myself. I usually work them out myself. I'm pretty good at handling my depression and anxiety, but some days just knock me out. I get so overwhelmed with doubt that I can't even think straight. I don't want to feel useless because I know I'm not. I don't want to feel like I'm undesirable because I know I'm not. I know that I can make a difference. I know that I can be more than just a disabled single mom. I know that I can be more than he ever said to me. I just can't feel it sometimes. I'm sorry about the long post. I think I've been in need to release this somewhat. I want to thank all of you for helping me find a purpose. Helping all of you has made me very confident in my career choice. Being around the positive has helped me see that I am doing right. I'm just a mess at the moment, I suppose. So thank you. Thanks to all of you that take time out of your day to listen, to reach out. You all have taught me to be brave and firm. You all have helped me stay on track after my horrid breakup. I have my life back. And that is from Keaton. Wow, Keaton, you have been through so much, and yet you're here helping others.
Mhm.
I salute you. You are amazing. And wow, I sure do appreciate you giving us some of the history here.
Mhm.
But it's interesting to me because a lot of times you see this happen where the people who go through tremendous hardship, they end up, being very kind and compassionate toward others and very helpful to others. And it just, you see that so many times. But the people who have had everything given to them and they've got their life all together and they've got, they've not had all that many challenges, they're arrogant and mean and awful. Yeah, well, not always, but but I just
No.
there's certain people I know of that, they grew up, they grew up in wealth because their parents inherited money and, built a company with it, and then they inherited the company, and so they've never really had to work for much, and they've just got everything, and money's no object and all that kind of stuff, and they're just mean and rude and arrogant, and they use people and treat them like dirt. But you who have been through so much, you treat people so well. And Keaton, wow, so much love to you from us here at BSS. And wow, thank you for being who you are. And I'm going to turn it over to Ryan before I start blubbering.
Sure. Just as a side note, we don't hate people who have been born into families where they have a bunch of money.
No,
We
not at
understand
all.
that everybody's a jerk, and if you are, you can change. So good luck to you on that.
Thanks for that disclaimer.
Yeah, you're welcome. You guys are valuable to us too. It's just Joe's making a point. But yeah, Keaton, you're an amazing person. And I'm sure you've heard this before. I'm sure you've told yourself before. But when it comes to them saying, this particular person, that treated you very, very terribly, right? Um, and they said, stuff like, no one will ever want you, and you'll feel like you're never good enough. Like, my response to that would be like, who cares what they say? What do they know? Keaton, I don't even know you. Like, I do know you. We've talked, but I don't know everything you're capable of. I will never know everything you're capable of, and I will never know everything you've done. And I will never know the impact that everything you've done has. Because it's almost pretty much infinite. I mean, your value is infinite alone, but the people that you affect with your kindness, with your smiles, even with just your laugh, um, you make other people better. You help other people heal just by doing that. And then you do that a lot, all the time for people. And I think that's so awesome. And so that you'll never, ever know how that carries through one person into another throughout people's lives, how you inspire people just by you being you, and how people will aspire to make themselves better just because you were you. Mm-hmm. And you affected them by that. So if you're ever thinking that you're not enough, I think the answer is there. You're more than enough. You were made more than enough. No one exists in this world that isn't enough. And you know that. But you've got those thoughts running around your head, right? So, and you know that they're wrong. You know that those thoughts are wrong. You know that those thoughts not only aren't helping you, and not only that those are making you feel bad, but that they're just wrong. But how do you get rid of those, right? How do you get rid of those thoughts? How do you stop them from creeping in? I think one of the main things, prayer helps a lot, because prayer kind of creates that mental shield. It creates that fortitude. If you can pray, you spend time doing, hopefully, if you're a religious person, doing what is most valuable in life, what is worth the most in life. And so that kind of counteracts the concept of being not enough. Because here's the thing, you are enough. You were born enough. You were made as you are, and everything you are is beautiful before God. And so even if you're in a wheelchair, what does that mean to your value? What does that mean to how valuable you are? Now, I know that you're not in a wheelchair, because you have, even though, like you said here, and like you personally told me, even though the doctor said you have 0% chance of feeling any feeling in your legs, or ever even being able to walk again, you are actually able to walk today. And I think that's amazing. And that's amazing. You even said so yourself. That is so amazing. And yeah, but even if you couldn't walk again, that has nothing to do with your worth or what value you have, right? How much you can affect other people. So how do you get rid of those thoughts? I think when those thoughts come up, just dismiss them. Joe has this line that he uses. He says, "Thanks, but no thanks." I think, is that how the line goes?
No, it's thank you and you're dismissed.
Oh, thank you and you're dismissed. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So if you have those thoughts, you can just be like, "Thank you, but you're dismissed." Thank you and you're just yeah. So I think we all need to have that in our life. Because every once in a while we think of things that are not healthy for us, whether it be some kind of temptation or some kind of thought against ourselves or thought against other people. Like, man, that person, they don't know how to drive. Where do they grow up never learning how to drive? Wow, that's my insult. Okay, anyways. You know, we think bad things about people sometimes, right? That some people do. I don't know what that's like. No, but sometimes we have bad thoughts about people or about ourselves or whatever. To have that ability to say, why are you thinking that? No, I'm not going to spend any time on that. Just dismiss it. If it helps, do something physical. And by that, I don't just mean like go and draw a picture or go write your stories, whatever. I mean, you can literally do something physical like gone. You know, as weird as that is, right? It's a physical act that helps your mental state.
Mhm.
And so there are many things that you can do that dismiss those thoughts. So when you have that thought, just dismiss it. And eventually, what you're going to have is a habit that dismiss stupid thoughts. Because here's the thing, we all have stupid thoughts. We all remember those things that our parents or whatever said to us, they probably didn't even mean, or were just upset or whatever. We all have those weird things that creep into us and like, wow, you know, but we also know not to believe them. But if we sit there and we think about them and we let them sit around in our heads, sit around knocking around in our skulls, creating all kinds of noise, then it's, not helpful. So to develop the ability to dismiss those thoughts is very helpful. And you can create a habit out of that. So as soon as one comes up, you're like, oh yeah, that's one of those bad thoughts. You can go, you can leave. And then you get on with your day. So just try to dismiss them when they come up. And the last thing I want to talk about before Joe uh, uh, does his bit here is you're talking about no one would ever want you. Here's the thing, you are a woman and you're thinking that no one will ever want you as a woman anymore because you have a child and the associated things with that. You have you are somewhat disabled, right? You're disabled. And so you have two things that you feel are kind of like no one wants to be with this kind of person. Here's the thing what you got going for you. First of all, those are two things, and you got like 5 million other things that are better than that. One, your personality. Okay, your personality is amazing. Two, your joyfulness. You're a joy, not just to be around, but you are joyful, and people love that. People want to be around you because you have that great personality, that great joy, the humor. You're a funny person. All right. You have all sorts of different stuff going for you. You have your priorities straight. You have desires to help people. You are a person that anybody who has eyes to see can see you and say, that's someone worth desiring. And so, first of all, I just want to say, again, it doesn't matter what that other person said, whether they think they want to be with you or not. Well, here's the thing. They're just a terrible person. I hope they get better. I hope they improve their lives. I hope they change and they become the kind of person that says, I'm going to stick with somebody even if they do get crippled. I'm going to stick with somebody even if they hurt me. And I'm going to be I'm going to be there for them. I want them to become that kind of person. Well, here's the thing. They were not that kind of person. That doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who aren't amazing like you are. There are plenty of men out there. Now, of course, we live in a society, we always have, but we live in a society with people who just think that, becoming a boyfriend or girlfriend or marriage in general is just something that's part-time. And it's like, oh no, now I have to spend my whole life caring for them and trying to help them come over. You know what? It's too much work. I'll just go off and find somebody else. That's terrible. And that's the society we live in because we've decided that marriage and all of that kind of stuff, commitments are not really good for us as human beings because we're only looking out for ourselves. But here's the thing. There are people out there who are not like that. There are people out there who have pushed their wives around in wheelchairs for 40 years and will continue to do so until the day they die. Because you know what? There are people who have pushed their wives around in wheelchairs for 20 plus years, and their wives, I'm sorry, but they're not they're not there. They're brain dead.
Mm.
And they continue to love that person
Mhm.
and help that person, visit them at the hospital. That's amazing. And there are people out there like that. You are worth the kind of person that takes care of people. You're not worth the kind of person that just throws you away because you got in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth your time. Your time is for the people who are valuable enough to know your value. Rather, who are able to see your value. They are valuable. Everybody's valuable. But he has to work on himself, all right? I'll just say that. So you don't worry about people like that, okay? You're amazing. And the last thing I want to say is this. I don't know. It's not my place to tell you this, but romantic life is cool and it's important, but I think it's important to remember that your value also isn't dependent upon whether you're married or not,
Mm-hmm.
whether there's someone there for you or not. I would look at you and say you're a whole person. You're accomplished. You're an incredible woman, and you don't need someone to want you to be who you are. You are who you are, regardless of whether people want you or not. And I like who you are. So maybe you might have that desire, that you can be with somebody forever, right? That's pretty normal. That's pretty natural. I think pretty much most people have that. But that desire isn't the end all of life. And if you do go through life and you don't find somebody, that's okay. That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean any less of you. In fact, it probably means more of you because look, now you've been a single mom. That's hard, especially when you have the physical ailments that you have.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That doesn't mean you can't find anybody. Maybe you will. I'm not one to say. I have no clue. But I'm going to leave the rest up to Joe. So, yeah. Thank you for posting that, Keaton. And we appreciate you here. You are so awesome. To everybody here, we all love you. So thank you.
Yeah. Wow, Keaton. I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. I mean, I'm really blown away at the person that you are.
Mm-hmm.
It just astounds me, and I'm so honored that you're here with us and you're contributing to the chat and you're contributing to people's issues, and you've posted so much in response to people's topics, and in the Don't Worry Wednesday section of the website, that to see what you've been through and that you truly want to help others, it blows me away. And you are worth greatness. I'm glad that you've been able to get out of the situation where you're being abused and run down and told that you weren't worth anything, because you are. My goodness, you are worth so much. And it makes me sad when people would tell someone what they were telling you, that telling you that no one would ever want you, that that you're a problem, and now you're even more of a problem, and all of this. It just, it disgusts me.
Yeah.
When people treat others like that. It's so horrible. And you've been through that, and now you're here on the other side of this, and you're helping other people, and you are in a position of being made for something great. And you have such an incredible story that can inspire people. And because of what's in your heart, you have the heart to inspire people. I mean, I'm inspired now. I was inspired before watching you post and help people out. I'm more inspired now that I know the backstory. Like, it just, whoa, it blows me away. So thank you for being who you are. And thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of this community. And you are so revered and loved here. I thank you so much. I'm really glad that you posted what you did here and that we get to handle it tonight, because it gives me a chance to promote a new book I just got. Because I'm all about the book promotions.
Man,
But
you got to get some money for that.
I don't. Well, no, this is the first time I've ever pre-ordered a book.
Really?
And I got it. Yeah, I'd never had a book on pre-order. Oh wait, no, I did before actually.
Okay.
I did. Yep, there was a time a few years ago when I got a book on pre-order as well. But this is The Miracle Equation by Hal Elrod. It's a new book. You guys have heard me talk about The Miracle Morning and promote that up and down like crazy, because that's the one that changed me into being a morning person and figuring out how to do things first thing and everything like that. I think you'd really connect with this author, Keaton, because he has a very similar story in being in a car wreck. He actually died for 6 minutes and then was revived. Yeah. And they told him he was never going to walk again, and he was going to be confined to a wheelchair to his whole life. And he describes how he got through that. And I think that you might find some, you'd be able to relate to that story a lot, having been through what you did. So I'll post a link to that here. Telling Lies.
What is Joe lying about? Oh, because of the book. It wasn't your first pre-order.
Oh yeah, okay. Yep, sorry. I didn't mean to lie.
I didn't lie, Mom.
But yeah, no, so but there's a link to it on Amazon. And then here's a podcast actually that I listened to that you might also find inspiring. This is an episode of a guy named Dr. Sean Stevenson. It's on Hal Elrod's podcast, but Dr. Sean Stevenson, when you're talking about maybe people never being able to love you again now because of the situation you're in and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Dr. Stevenson has really he went through some of that kind of stuff too, and so I would definitely check out those resources. I think you would relate a lot to what they talk about and what they have written about, and it might help. And I really think, I mean, you could. I don't know where you're planning on heading in your life or what you're planning on doing, but you definitely have a great way of helping others. And you can help people on a grand scale, maybe through podcasting, maybe through even, I mean, you're already here contributing on our show. I mean, you could have your own show where you're doing stuff like this. I see these people who have been through this stuff and they're writing books. You could write books.
Joe, you're amazing.
Why?
Because, okay, so you're like, I don't know what you want to do with your life, but you can, like, you help people. You're really good at it. So what she wants to do is she wants to help other people who are recovering from paralysis and things like that.
Oh, okay.
So
did I miss that in the chat or
no. What's that called? Therapy?
Physical therapist? Physical therapy?
Yeah, but also highly
occupational therapy, stuff like that.
Yeah. And then you comment about you could write a story, and she's actually also like a writer. So she does.
Oh my gosh.
See, Joe knows. See.
Oh my gosh.
You don't even have to like have someone know what you're working at, and he can already tell like that you're really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Counseling those going through it. There it is. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do it on a grand scale. You can do it person to person. I mean, I know sometimes it's hard to get out. So, I mean, you can also do it. I mean, with the technology we have, I mean, we do this show. We do this show on YouTube, Don't Worry Wednesday show. And like, I'm a TV star now. I'm on your computer screen. But you totally, absolutely, I mean, you can take your experience and you can put it in the print form. You would inspire hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with your story and what you do. And you totally, totally could have a huge impact worldwide because of the technology that we have at our hands. And with your heart and your story, it would be amazing. I mean, there's so much like here in this formula that fits together to people around the world being inspired and uplifted and helped through whatever challenges they're going through because of who you are and what you can do. So definitely listen to that podcast, Dr. Sean Stevenson. His story is incredible. He was kind of born with some issues, and if you've clicked on the link, you've seen a picture of the guy, so you can kind of see some of the challenges that he might be up against. I mean, he was born with some very degenerative conditions and everything like that. So, so there's some interesting stuff in there where he says, he looks at himself. He's kind of like this. He definitely looks crippled and stuff, and he's in a wheelchair and all this stuff, and he's got some interesting growth rate differences in his limbs and stuff like that. And for the longest time, he thought, how am I going to help anybody, like this? And then after he got into the speaking circuit and he started speaking on stages all over the place, and he started, producing programs and stuff like that for people, he was actually like, I feel bad for the people who aren't crippled, because I've got this package that I can just sell to the world. Like,
that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love him for saying that's awesome.
Yeah. It's funny, I would definitely go through some of that stuff. But Keaton, my goodness, you have so much that you're going to do for this world. I mean, wow. And I don't even know what else to say, except I'm just super inspired by you.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
And I hope that as you grow, you remember us little old guys here at BSS.
We're so old. And little. We're quite tiny, really. We look big on your screens, but that's because you guys have big monitors. We're only actually like about 2 inches tall.
Yeah.
Together, if you put us together, I'm about 1.5. He's about a half.
That's totally true. I'm about half.
It's about a ½ inch tall. What you're seeing is a very one of those like little play sets that look like a real house. That's kind of what we live in. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, but wow, Keaton,
we're so glad that you're with us. We're like, you showed up out of nowhere, and we just have loved every minute of it. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So definitely go through that. And here's the cool thing. I did realize this with if you decide to get that book on Amazon, it's funny. Like I usually get audiobooks too. Like this one, I pre-ordered the physical book because I had a gift card at Amazon. So I pretty much got it. I got it for like 38 cents after the gift card and stuff like that, which is great. Nice. But then on Audible for the audiobook, like if you don't have an audio account or an Audible account, you can get it for free with you get a free trial of Audible, and so you can actually get it for free. And another thing, if you do have an Audible account, what I ended up doing here was I had some books in my Audible account that I was done with and I didn't need anymore. I just turned those in. I returned them because they do that, and then you can swap them out for different stuff. So I got the audiobook for free.
Wow.
because just I turned in, some of the books that I had listened to. I didn't really feel like keeping them anymore. Some of them I keep and I listen to them over and over again. But some of them are just like, I listened to it once. It was all right, but not that great. So I turned a couple of those in. I got some free credits and I got some new books. And one of them was The Miracle Equation.
So are we
And,
sponsored by them now?
No,
Or?
we're totally not.
Oh, bummer.
Totally not at all.
Okay.
And we should be.
Yeah.
I can't imagine we will be. But hey,
Yeah,
I
not
just
if you
want.
sold them out for telling how to get free stuff.
Well, I'm sure he still gets credit for that,
Sure.
But yeah, so Audible would be a proper sponsor for someone like Joe.
Yeah, for someone like Joe.
Thanks. Wow, Keaton, no. Oh, wow. Keaton says, I obviously can't say thank you enough. Keaton, we can't say thank you enough. My goodness. Like, you are a powerful force to be reckoned with your heart and your story. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You're amazing, Keaton. And I'm just so honored that we're here, that you're here, and we're here with you.
I'm so honored that I'm here. I love being in my
wow. So thanks, Keaton. Still can't say it.
Now, due to the limits of text, you can only say it so many times before you get blocked by the YouTube bot.
Yeah.
Bam! You've said thank you. You said the same thing over and over. Mark you for spam. Okay. Anyways, yeah.
Yep. And I want to write books too. Like I have a couple ideas for a few books. So maybe I'll write a book, you can write a book, and then maybe we can co-write a book or something. That'd be kind of fun. So I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Rewrite every other letter. No, okay, that's not a good idea. That book won't
Yeah. So anyway, just say thank you, Keaton, for being here. Thank you for posting, and I hope some of this has been helpful for you. But definitely, wow, I don't know how to help someone who is so helpful already, except for to tell you how wonderful and valuable you are.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Mm-hmm. The judges challenge us to read 3 books. At least I would read more than 3 books.
Never. Only 3 books maximum. That's all you're allowed to read. Pick 3.
I mean,
ever. No.
I used to have a top 5 books that I would refer to, and now I've got like more.
Yeah. Top 436 books. Okay.
Get started now.
You'll be finishing within 80 years. Oh.
All you got to do is get Audible and get a job where you drive around all day.
Yeah.
Or a job where you're doing something mindless and you can listen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you can go through all kinds of books. But yeah. So anyway, thank you so much. I don't think we're going to get to science. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, but we'll do it next time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So come on Friday. We'll do yours. Yes. Keaton says, I wish I enjoyed hearing someone read to me, but I just enjoy reading the physical copy so much more.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep. That is totally fair. I will tell you this though, the audiobook uniquely for this one was actually read out loud by the author. So you actually get the author reading his own book, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. I like that.
It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's usually pretty cool. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yep. But anyway, thank you so much, Keaton, for posting, and thanks for being here again. And I hope you are here every time. Mm-hmm. You never ever leave.
Jesse loves Tef so much.
I love Tef.
Yeah, me too. Tef, did you know Jesse got a watch inspired by you? You'll have to ask him about that if you don't know about that yet. Or maybe he'll tell you about it. Oh, you showed him? Okay.
Good.
Or maybe he'll tell you about it next time we stream. Yeah. Tef is awesome. Anyways, yeah. I'll let Joe wrap up the show because I'm not the host.
Oh, I'm the host. That's right.
Right.
Well,
I was
thank you
about
guys. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. Now I feel like I'm on the spot, you know.
Oh, okay. Well, let's debrief and then come back to it whenever you're ready.
Well, in the meantime, between now and Friday, because we're going to do this again on Friday, and Science, if you're here, we will handle yours on Friday. In the meantime, go to bss.studio. If you have any topics or anything you want us to talk about on this show, feel free to post them in the website there. We posted the link before it. Let's see if I can post it. Princess got the main website posted. I posted this questions section. Or you can email us at dww@bss.studio. One of these days, we might even have a phone number you can call.
Whoa.
You can call Brian's personal cell phone at blah, blah, blah.
What was it? Like 199 trying to know your mother?
0118999. Yes. So no, thank you guys for being here, and come back on Friday. Go to bss.studio. Oh, check out on the front page of bss.studio now, we have players embedded that have Static P's music and CDVNL music. It plays directly from Spotify. If you're logged into your Spotify account, you can listen to the whole song. If you're not logged into Spotify, then it will play like 30 seconds and then prompt you to log in to Spotify. But so go check that out. It's pretty cool. And I'm super proud of myself. I actually put that in there. And I don't know anything about internet stuff.
Nice.
It was hilarious. I put that on there, and then we were on a conference call. This is funny because I put that on there, and then I said, "Hey guys," we were on a conference call. I said, "Hey, check out the website. Check out what I did to the website." And then they're like, "Oh no."
I think
You broke it.
Jesse, Kyle, I don't know who else, but they were like, "Uh-oh, what did you do?" I had full confidence. I was like, he probably did something pretty cool.
Like, I did something good. Yay. Which would totally be wrong, because What's
the joke of that? Messing it up.
That's right. That's right. Jesse says CDVNL, the new webmaster. Time to put in support tickets. Yes. So anyway, thank you guys for being here. Come back on Friday. We'll see you then. And have a great couple days.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
See you guys. We love you.
Love you guys.
Peace.